I sewed my dream summer wardrobe this summer and I'm gonna tell you all about it. Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's very exciting video where I'm going to be taking you through everything that I sewed this summer that really turned out to be essentially my dream summer wardrobe. So let's dive in. So I didn't originally set out to essentially like sew an entire wardrobe this summer, but after kind of reflecting back on a lot of the pieces that I've sewn this summer and pulling them out, I realized, wow, I basically sewed an entire wardrobe. And honestly, I feel like the pieces that I've made this summer are pieces that really fit my style, what I love to wear, and are pieces that are going to be in my closet for a really long time. And honestly, that's the essence and inspiration behind everything that I do here on my YouTube channel with the videos that I put out, because at the end of the day, what I'm super passionate about is inspiring your creativity, helping you to grow your sewing skills if you are starting out on your sewing journey, and also encouraging you to create and curate your own homemade wardrobe on a budget, because those are three things that I'm doing all of the time. And when it comes to creating and curating a wardrobe and clothes that I love, everything comes back to it being affordable, it being able to be sewn and made myself, and also it is all pretty budget friendly because I love to use thrifted fabric. So over the past year, I've definitely sewn a number of things. Last December, I filmed a video basically going through everything that I had made last year, and it was a lot of things. But I honestly think that just this summer, I've topped that. I haven't even counted all of these items, but I feel like we're close to topping that, and that's because the summer has just been super duper focused on sewing, and I've been doing a lot of sewing projects. I've also had the privilege of doing a number of pattern tests for indie pattern designers, and I love to be a pattern tester because one, I love that pattern tests sometimes get me outside of my comfort zone in making new things, trying new skills or techniques in that pattern, and then being able to find patterns that I absolutely fall in love with and get to share with all of you and everyone who follows me on social media, and really spread the word about these amazing pattern designers and the things that they're putting out into the world. But with that, it also gives me an excuse to sew really fun things. And so a number of things that I've made this summer come from pattern tests, which is really fun. So everything that I'm talking about and sharing today has an associated pattern, so you can actually go and purchase the pattern from the pattern designer and support them. I love supporting indie pattern designers. I feel like a number of the patterns that I've made this year are from some of my favorite pattern designers, print at home patterns, PDF patterns, and I just love that. So I will be sharing and linking all of the patterns that I mentioned in today's video down in the description of this video. And then if something is not made with the pattern, chances are it's something that I made and shared a tutorial for on my channel, so I will also be sharing that tutorial. So as you're watching this today, if you find or see any pieces that you absolutely love, drop a comment, let me know the items that you're loving, but also you can probably go and make it for yourself. Something else that I really love about so many of the pieces I created this summer is that even if I used a pattern for them, it was a pattern for an item that closely mirrored a designer piece that I had like pinned on Pinterest or was wanting to recreate. And you all know, if you have watched a number of my videos, especially my tutorials, that I love doing designer dupe, like thrift flips, where I take a picture of a designer piece and then I recreate it by pulling a pattern that is very similar, making a pattern myself, and then using thrifted fabric, all to recreate essentially a $100 item or a very high priced piece into something that definitely fits more people's budget, especially mine. And so that's always just a fun challenge when sewing, is how much money can I save and how little can I spend on making an item that looks like something other people would spend a couple $100s for. And so many patterns this summer that I used fit that bill, and so I'm really excited to get into this and share all the details with you. All right, so let's start out with the dresses. So first off, we have two dresses that are from the same pattern, and it's also a dress that I did a pattern test for. So this is the Eleanor dress from Silver Saga Patterns. So this was a pattern test that I did I think in May, so it was more so in the springtime, but these dresses have definitely carried over into summer and I've worn them a number of times. So this is probably one of my new favorite patterns and definitely one of my favorite patterns from Silver Saga Patterns. I have gotten to test I think 3 of her patterns at this point and I absolutely love them. And if you want to know more about what it's like to be a pattern tester and kind of what that process looks like, I actually filmed a pattern testing vlog for this specific dress. I'll link it down below and you can also find it on my channel. And I go through some more of the details behind the scenes of what it looks like to be a pattern tester if you ever want to get into that and help out pattern designers by testing their patterns and giving feedback. But this is one of my favorite patterns that I've made recently. I made this one out of a thrifted sheet, no surprise. So in total, this dress probably cost me $7. I was thinking about doing the math on all of these pieces and figuring out like in total what all of them cost. If I were to average out each piece, because I so often use thrifted sheets and thrifted sheets are anywhere from like $4.99 to $6.99, I would probably average every piece out to essentially be $7, which is kind of crazy because a lot of these pieces look like other pieces that sell for like hundreds of dollars. So anyways, we have this Eleonora dress. I love the Eleonora dress because it actually comes in 3 different kind of bodice styles, and I chose to make the ruched variation in Virgin. Also just this fabric is so pretty and peachy, and then it has this really fun flowy skirt and pockets. So this is just a great, comfortable, super classic dress. This one kind of gives cottagecore vibes, and so I just really loved how this one turned out. Now I did make a different variation of this from that same pattern. So this is another Eleonora, and this one, instead of having rows of ruching, this one has 2 rows of elastic, which I really love. This specific dress in the white kind of looks like Marie Antoinette. It kind of reminds me of the robe de Francaise, I think is what they're called, the really classic white dresses that were worn in the 1700s. Also like kind of Regency-ish vibes, and so I really love that. And I've also been really into just like all things white recently, maybe just because they match with everything. So white dresses, white skirts. This is another Eleonora dress. This one I also made out of a white sheet. And the cool thing about this one is that the bottom had these really fun little ruffles. And so I thought that was just a really fun detail. This one's also longer, and then I did less panels in the skirt on this one. So it's a little less flowy, but I still really like it. I've styled it a number of really cute ways. So those are the 2 Eleonora dresses that I have. I'm definitely planning to make more. I actually want to make a black Eleonora because I don't actually have like any black dresses, and I saw someone with a black Eleonora the other day and I was like, that is just so pretty. So my 2 Eleonora dresses. Alright, next up is a dress and a project that has been on my to-do list in my Pinterest board for a really long time, and I finally made it, and I also made a tutorial all about it, and that is this tie front striped dress based on the tie front striped Ganni dress that retails for like $300 something. And obviously I used a sheet for mine, so it only cost about $7. Then you factor in the pattern that I hacked in order to make this bodice, and that pattern I think is only like $4 or $5. So anyways, basically a $10 dress from a sewing perspective. I filmed a tutorial all about how to make this. It's super duper easy, and I hacked a pattern to make the bodice, and then I show you how to attach the skirt. And I just really love this dress. I also love the pink. It's just such a fun color, and then the ties in the front are really, really pretty. I've definitely made a number of tie front things this summer, and so you will definitely see that trend and in a lot of the other pieces that I have. So if you want to make this for yourself, there's a tutorial on my channel, and I will also link it down below. right, my next dress is this dress made out of a sheet. Again, no surprise. And this one actually wasn't from a PDF printed home indie pattern. This was from a McCalls pattern that I've had in my collection for a really long time. It was McCalls M8197. This is what that pattern looks like, but I made adjustments to it. So what I did is I actually lengthened this dress to be a midi length. I also added a ruffle to the top of the dress, and then I extended it to a midi length. I added a ruffle to the midi length, and then I added a tiny ruffle above. So it was this really pretty like rosy garden print, which I just thought was so pretty. And then the sheet at the top was edged in this corresponding fabric. So I thought it would be really fun to add ruffles that correspond with that. And it turned out really cute. I love the high empire waist of this dress. It definitely has a very Regency, like Pride and Prejudice silhouette, which I really, really love. And so I just thought this dress was really pretty. I made this for a conference that I went to where the aesthetic was kind of like cottagecore country-ish. And I actually wore this with my cowboy boots, and so it was really fun to style it that way. All right, next up is kind of a very random sewing project. I got an idea for this dress like 2 days before a wedding that we were going to, and decided to make up this dress. And this dress is actually inspired by and based on the Doen and Gap collaboration. And there was this white eyelet dress that had all of these really pretty ruched ruffly details, and so I tried to recreate it in my own version in a fabric that I had, and this is the dress that came out. So this is probably the only item in all of the pieces I'm talking about today that I don't actually have a tutorial for, but there was a dress pattern recently released that is super similar to this, so I'll try and link that down below. But I used this white and blue sheet that I had, and as you can see, there's a ton of ruche detail. So there's ruching at the straps, there is gathered elastic, and there's a ruched waistline, and there's multiple ruffles all over. So this was just kind of a fun dress, a little bit different than what I make and a little bit different than a lot of the pieces I've made this summer. But I love that this one doesn't actually have sleeves, it just has straps, so you can kind of wear like a sweater with it. And the dropped kind of waist with the ruffle is really pretty. I just feel like the more dropped style of skirts and dresses is really, really flattering. And so I wore this to a wedding, and it really was the perfect kind of dress. And again, this was made out of a sheet, and then I just kind of analyzed the original dress and figured out what pieces I was going to have to create, and just kind of whipped it up from there. I might try and recreate this at some point in another fabric and actually do a tutorial taking you step by step through it. So if you would be interested in that, let me know. Alright, my next two pieces kind of fall into the dress category, but they're also kind of tops, kind of tunics-ish, and are probably one of my other favorite pattern tests that I've done this year, and that is these two fun sets. These are the picnic sets by Kaden. I will link them down below. So I have pattern tested for her 2 times, and this was the second pattern that I tested for her. The first one was a top that we'll get to in a little bit, but I am so obsessed with this pattern and have honestly worn these pieces so much. So let's talk about this first one, which is a red and white gingham. And red and white gingham is all the rage right now. I also have really been loving the color red. If you look on my Instagram, there's so many outfits that have red in them recently. And so this just perfectly fit into that. So it's a little tunic. I actually made this red and white one shorter than the blue one. And this was some leftover fabric that I had from my Valentine's Day bow tie pants, and so I had the perfect amount. I chose version and style C from the pattern, which had a ruffly or a ruffle around the neckline, and then I did some rickrack on it, which honestly Turned out so cute. And then the fun thing about the picnic set is that everyone in the pattern testing was doing all these fun mixed prints. And so I had the red and white checkered, gingham for the dress, and then I made these adorable cherry bloomers. So the picnic set, it's essentially a really mini dress with bloomers. So it's kind of like a little girl's outfit but made for adults, and I just think it's so fun. Definitely perfect for summer heat. And then having the bloomers, you can kind of get away with wearing shorter dresses. Usually I hate wearing short dresses, but having the bloomers just made it really fun. And so these are the cherries, and then I edged them also in the gingham, and it's just so cute to wear them together, and the cherries kind of peek out at the bottom. And then I recently remade the picnic set again in this super fun fabric. This was originally the fabric I was going to use for my first picnic set, but then I ended up going with the red and white checkered for my first version. And so this was a vintage sheet that I recently thrifted that kind of has a quilt pattern on it, which I thought was so fun, and I've been holding on to it to make like the perfect piece, and the picnic set just seemed perfect. I went with the ruffle neckline again, and then I used blue rickrack, which honestly is so fun. If you're not adding rickrack to things, I feel like that is also making a comeback in just fun, quirky, personalized sewing projects. And so this is the dress. I made this one the actual length of the pattern, which is more kind of like a mini dress. So the bloomers don't stick out quite as much, which I like because I feel like I can wear this one more as a dress rather than kind of a long tunic top with bottoms. And then I made the bloomers to match it, so it's all corresponding, which is really fun. These picnic sets have been so nice for the summertime because they're easy to throw on, they're super cute and fun, and they also just keep you really cool. So highly recommend this pattern. It's super user-friendly. There's also so many hacks you can do with this pattern, and I have so many different ideas for different sets I want to make with this, like a really fun white ruffly top and then white ruffle eyelet bloomers to go with it. Just so cute. Alright, the next two pieces I have are two dresses that are also from a pattern test. Well, this one I made for the pattern test and this one I made afterwards. Usually when I do pattern test, I will always make one item, obviously, for the pattern test to test out the pattern, make any adjustments, give feedback to the pattern designer. And then if I have time in the pattern testing process, I will make a second item. Sometimes I don't have time to make two items in the actual testing window, and so I'll usually make a second piece after the pattern actually releases. But yeah, usually I love the patterns I test so much that I make just multiple variations of it, which just goes to show how much I love all of these patterns and all of these designers and why you should try them out for yourself. Okay, so this was the Riviera dress by Maiden Mary, and I have two different variations of it. So the first one is the ruched gathered neckline variation that I made for the test. So she has a more like bustier fitted neckline bust area for the dress, and then there's more of this ruched gathered version. So I made the ruched version as my pattern test. This pattern also comes in three different variations. So there's the midi length, there's a mini length, and then you can actually make like a bustier corset top. So there's a ton of variations with this pattern, which I absolutely love. And I feel like this pattern is just such like a quintessential feminine dress, beautiful classic. And what I love is that it kind of has a dropped waist. It has these beautiful gathered panels on the side, and then again the different variations that you can do for the bodice are so fun. And then all of the style lines honestly are just so flattering. So I made this out of a vintage sheet no surprise there. That's usually what all my pieces are made out of. And I just love how this dress turned out. This was her first pattern release, so it was so fun to be on the team. And honestly, this dress is just so beautiful, so highly recommend it. Then I made a second variation in red, and I actually filmed a whole tutorial and video for this. The Riviera dress just kept giving me Reformation vibes, and Reformation has so many beautiful red dresses, and so I decided to use the Riviera dress, pull inspiration from Reformation, and make a video where I was essentially making my version of a Reformation dress, which is this dress. And I love this red dress. It turned out so good. And there's actually a couple adaptations I made to the original Riviera dress pattern for this dress, and I share all those details in the tutorial if you want to make it for yourself or see like what I did specifically for this dress. But the main thing I did was I raised the neckline to be more curved instead of straight across, because I feel like a lot of the red Reformation dresses I loved have more curved necklines rather than being straight across, and I just thought those were so pretty. And then I also added in a ton of red top stitching details. You can't really tell here. It's very hard to tell in the red, but close up and in natural lighting you can see those top stitching details, and I feel like it just gave a super fun element to this red dress. Again, another beautiful classic and perfect summer dress. And so if you want the details for this specific dress, like I said, I have a whole tutorial on my channel which actually goes through how to make this dress. And so if you want to make any variation of the Riviera dress, that tutorial will be super helpful for following along on the pattern. The next dress that I have is this dress, and this is the Isla dress that I also did a pattern test for. This was the first time that I've ever worked with this specific designer, and I saw her sharing about this dress and I just thought it was so fun. It is much different style of dress than my typical dresses because it has a full open back. So once you see it on, you will notice obviously the full open back, but that's honestly what I loved about it. It's so flattering. And this one is also a maxi length, so it's 3 tiers. It has the bodice tier, the middle tier, and then the bottom tier in all of the gathers. And the Isla dress is really fun because it comes in 3 different style variations. The maxi length, it comes in a midi length, and then it comes in a mini, which doesn't have tiers. And for this pattern, she also released a tall version and then a regular version, so I obviously used the tall version. So she thought about everything with the pattern, and I really love that. This is also insanely easy to sew. I sewed it in like 1 day, so if you're looking for a super fun beginner sewing project but also like the perfect summer dress, this is it. And again, it's kind of hard to see just holding up, so you'll have to see it when I actually have it on. But there's different ways that you can tie the straps, so it looks really fun. And then this fabric I thrifted, I think 6 or 8 yards of it for like $5, which is insane. And it's usually a fabric I feel like I wouldn't go for. The light pink color and just the design is a little bit different than my norm, but honestly I love how it turned out, and it's been such a fun like breezy summer dress. So this is another great one. All right, and then that brings us to my last dress that I have made this summer, which also is going to lead us into the tops because this specific dress has a top version variation. So this is the brand new Emma dress from Silver Saga Patterns. Again, you all know I love all of Jessica's patterns from Silver Saga, and like I said, I have tested her patterns multiple times. This is my most recent test, and this is the Emma dress, and I absolutely love this. As much as I love the Eleanor dress, I think the Emma dress might be my new favorite, simply because the bodice, I don't know, there's just something really, really beautiful about this bodice, and I also love the sleeves. So this is the dress that I made. It's this really fun sagey green florally print fabric, and this is actually a cotton fabric that I got from Joann Fabric. So this is one of the maybe only fabrics that I actually paid like full price for. Well, actually it was on clearance, but bought at an actual like fabric shop, and this was from their organic cotton collection, which I also really loved. It's just the softest, most flowiest cotton. Just love the bodice, and then it has the back and then all elastic. So the Emma dress comes in a dress version obviously, but then it also comes in a top variation where instead of the long skirt you have just a peplum, and so I also made a variation of that. So this is the dress, which I love, and you'll have to see it on to see like all of the pretty details because it's even more prettier on. I definitely have worn this dress a ton this summer. This is a dress that I will definitely reach for if I just want something like breezy, comfortable, but also that's just really, really pretty. This is the dress. I also want to make another variation of this in white because this dress is also just giving me like Regency Pride and Prejudice vibes, and so I really want to make it in a white to kind of really lean into that. Alright, so let's talk about all of the tops. I only have like a handful of tops, and that's something I've been realizing is that I need more like tops and blouses in my wardrobe to pair with different skirts and pants I have. So that's where some of these come in, and this is the Emma top. Like I said, the Emma dress comes in two variations, a top and a skirt, and this is the one with the peplum. This is the length of the original peplum that came in the pattern. I've seen other people make this with a shorter peplum, and I actually want to make a pink version of this with a shorter peplum because I feel like it would just be a little bit more flattering. But it's super fun to wear with like longer skirts or wear with pants because it adds like a fun little frill. And then obviously the yellow and the green and the white floral from a vintage sheet was just super fun. So definitely recommend the Emma pattern for dresses, but also for tops. This is just a great summer top if you're wanting something that's more tank top like, but that is definitely more elevated and feminine. This is a great one. Alright, then my next two tops are essentially Ganni inspired tie front tops. So let's talk about this blue one first, because this one is based off of a thrift flip designer dupe tutorial where I took a men's button-up shirt and turned it into a tie front top. It has been probably one of my like most popular sewing tutorials on my channel, and I've actually seen the actual tops that so many people have made because they've tagged me on social media, and so it's been fun to see them actually take my tutorial and turn it into something that they themselves could wear. So you just grab a men's button-up top from the thrift store, and I take you through the process of turning it into a tie front top. So I made mine out of a blue and white stripe mainly because the original Ganni top that I was basing it off of was a blue and white stripe, and so this one definitely looks very, very Ganni inspired, and it's just a fun little top to wear with jeans or wear with a lot of my skirts. It looks really good. So there's that one. And then I have this white tie front top, and I actually made this one from a hacked pattern. So the pattern that I used and hacked for the bodice of my Ganni tie front dress inspiration is the same pattern I used for this bodice. So if you watch the tutorial for this one and you go through the steps of the hack for the pattern to make the bodice, you can essentially make this top. So I really wanted a white top because I feel like white is just, again, like I said, I've been really into white recently, obviously wearing a white dress. It's just so classic and you can wear it with so many things. And I had this leftover fabric from my reception dress that I made, and I just love this fabric because it has this really fun texture. It almost is like a jumbo seersucker type of fabric. This was actually a shower curtain, I think. And so I used part of it to make my reception dress, and then this was a leftover, so I made a top. And I just feel like rather than just having a plain white fabric, the texture is so fun. I've loved pairing this with like a maxi denim skirt that I made, and I'll show you that in a minute. It pairs super cute together, and so great little summer top here. And if you want to make this, like I said, you can just use the pattern that I hacked for my Ganni dress and then just turn it into a top. Super easy. Alright, my next two tops are these. These are the Catalina tops from Kaden, who's also the pattern designer for the picnic set. So this is actually the first pattern test I did with her, and I believe this was her second pattern release, but her first garment pattern. And these tops and styles are definitely much different than like my typical style, a little bit outside of my comfort zone because they tie in the front and there's definitely a little bit more like skin that shows, and the neckline is definitely lower. But I wanted to give it a try, and I honestly love how these tops turned out. They are so fun. So this was the first one that I made for the pattern test process out of this navy and white gingham, because it's just, gingham is just such a fun color. I absolutely love it. And so I used it for the whole thing. Now, the cool thing about this pattern is that you have the option of making it reversible. So I could have actually used a different fabric on the inside, and then you can actually reverse it and get two tops for one, which is really fun. This was a pretty easy top to sew, and it also has princess seams, which I love. I feel like tops that have princess seams over darts are just more flattering, and so I really loved this one. And I actually have a pair of pants that I had made earlier in the summer, and so I've been wearing them together, and it's such a fun little combo. I also love wearing this with all my white skirts as well. And then after the pattern test, after it was released, like I said, I usually make a second piece after a pattern is released because then I have time to make a second piece. And so I made it in a cherry fabric with the red ties. This was actually the same cherry fabric as the bloomers for the red and white gingham picnic set. So it was kind of fun to use the cherry fabric for both pattern tests I did for her. This cherry fabric was kind of a remnant that I just had in my collection, and so I had the perfect amount to make this top and the bloomers. And honestly, it's such a fun little kind of novelty print. I feel like definitely sewists like to use some fun novelty prints sometimes, and definitely tying in the red ties, I really like that. And so yeah, that was this top. It looks super cute paired with my white skirts that I have, and then you could also wear it like pair of pants. I also have a pair of red and white gingham pants that this would look cute with, or if I made a pair of shorts, that would also look really cute with it. So this is the Catalina top, and it is just a perfect little top for summer. You can also wear it layered over like turtlenecks, or wear it more of like a vest. I've seen people style it that way, which is also a fun idea, especially taking it from like summer to fall. So a great beginner pattern and a super fun top pattern if you want to check it out. All the details will be linked below for this. Alright, that wraps it up for the tops, and the last section we have is bottoms. So this is going to be skirts, pants, and shorts. So let's get into that one. Okay, so this yellow skirt I based off of a skirt that I already had in my closet that I had bought, which had kind of a drop waist and then it was gathered at the bottom. So rather than just having your gathers at the top, it's kind of like a two-tiered skirt, but the idea is that it's more fitted around your hips and then it flares out at the bottom. So that's this yellow skirt. I love having solid color skirts in my wardrobe because then you can pair it with any kind of top. Whereas if you have like a printed skirt, I feel like you have to have a solid colored top for it to go with. So having both variations is always good. I do feel like if I were to make this again, I would definitely not make the top quite as long. It was a little too long. This was also kind of a test on the general silhouette. Alright, next up are my two white skirts that I definitely wear a lot. White skirts are definitely all the rage this summer, as I'm sure you have seen. So first off is probably my favorite. I feel like I just reach for this a lot because the texture is just really fun and the style. So it has this kind of, I don't know what this fabric is, but it has textured little dots on it. And then it is a tiered skirt that also has really pretty lace between the sections, which I love those kind of details. I feel like they're very like vintage, historical, and then a ruffle at the bottom with lace. So fun fact and story about this skirt is that it was originally a dress that I had bought off Poshmark. I think it was a Lulu's dress that I had gotten because it was white, and I actually wore it to one of my bridal showers last June. The top didn't really fit super well, like it was a little too tight and constricting in my shoulders, and so I was like, I really just love the fabric, I love the skirt on the dress, and so I decided to just chop off the top and then add a new waistband and add elastic, and it's probably been one of my most worn skirts this summer that I just reach for because it goes with everything. So this is definitely one of my favorite white skirts that I've been wearing and one of my favorite skirts in my wardrobe right now. Alright, and then my other white skirt is my white Doan remake skirt. And I feel like every single sewer has made some variation of the skirt. There's a lot of pattern designers who have come out with their own variations of the skirt. I think there's like at least 2 patterns that are really similar to this out right now. If I can track those down, I'll link them below. But I also have a tutorial showing you how to make this just with measurements and dimensions. So this is my take on the Doan skirt that I think was like around $300 or so. Doan is usually in that price range. It was also sold out, and so the original skirt has all these different pin tucks, and so this is my take on it. So I have 3 different sizes of pin tucks at the bottom, eyelet lace, then it has like that drop fitted waist, and then 3 pin tucks at the top. So I love this skirt. It definitely has like that Edwardian Victorian petticoat style with the pin tucks, and everyone is into that right now, and I just feel like it's such a fun construction detail, style detail. Alright, then we have 2 other skirts. So one of these is the same kind of skirt as the yellow skirt, but I did shorten the top section, and I definitely like how it fits and looks way better. So this was another super fun sheet that I thrifted. I actually thrifted 2 of these, so I still want to make a matching top to wear with this out of this fabric because I think it's just so fun. Very like cottagey. And then it had the stripes change directions on one side of the sheet, so I put that at the bottom and I really like it. And then I played with the stripe directions by making them go left to right at the top and then up and down at the bottom to mirror this bottom part. But anyways, this is a super fun just patterned and printed skirt. A lot of my skirts, like I said, are solid, so this was a fun kind of pattern to have, and there's a lot of colors in this that you can kind of pull from for styling a top with it. So definitely love this skirt. If I'm trying to decide if I want to do like a tutorial for how to make this skirt, because it's so easy and I think it's just way more exciting than just an elastic waist or gathered skirt. So if you want to see a tutorial for a skirt that has more of the fitted section at the hips and then gathered at the bottom, let me know, because I'll think about doing that. Alright, and then the last, well, there's one more skirt after this, but the last like actual skirt is this fun light blue and white gingham 3-tiered skirt. And I actually used another sewist tutorial to make this. So I used Sydney Graham's easy DIY skirt tutorial. Sydney Graham is also a pattern designer and she has designed a number of amazing patterns. The lane pant that I wear a lot and make a ton of different variations of, she designed, and so she came out with this tutorial and walks you through all the different measurements to make a skirt based on your measurements. And I just love the 3 kind of tiered section, and then the light blue and white gingham. Again, gingham is like, it's essentially a solid color at this point when it comes to fashion and summer style. And so this was just a really fun skirt I made. This one is pretty long, so I feel like it's in between like a midi and a maxi, and I just really love that length. I've been styling this with just simple tank tops and it's been so fun. Throw a hat on with it. Definitely a great skirt to make. So you can find the link to her tutorial to make this skirt in the description of this video, because this is a piece that I don't have a tutorial for and didn't have a pattern to go with it, but someone else's tutorial that you can go try out. Alright, I forgot I actually have 2 more skirts. Okay, so the first one is this one, which is more of a thrift flip. I have been wanting a long denim skirt because those are just really in right now. I feel like they started to get in like last fall, and I've just been seeing them in a lot of people's fashions, and so I wanted to try it out. So I had thrifted this dark wash denim pair of pants last fall, and so this spring I turned it into a skirt, and it definitely has carried over from the spring to the summer. So I just looked up a variety of different tutorials online for turning jeans into a maxi center front slit denim skirt, and it was actually super duper easy. I've been thinking about making another in like a lighter color, and maybe I would turn that into a tutorial as well. So anyways, if you would be interested in that, let me know in the comments if you would want to see a tutorial for how to make your own denim skirt. But I had to readjust a lot of things and shift things around, but it ended up coming out really well. And you can hardly even tell that they used to be pants. So this is just a fun staple. I love wearing it with tie front tops or a cute like little tank top. And I definitely need to wear this more than usual. I feel like the denim skirt trend is very hit or miss. Like, you have to style it the right way. Otherwise, I do think you can look a little bit like a homeschooler, and considering that I was homeschooled, I've always just made fun of denim skirts, but I feel like if you do them right, they can be really trendy. Alright, and this one is actually the last skirt, which honestly feels like more of a fall skirt, I feel like, just because of the colors, but I think you can wear this year round. So this is a leopard slip skirt. So this is the second thing I've made out of leopard fabric. I have a pair of ruffly bottom pants, which are super fun. I found this fabric on clearance at Joann Fabrics, and the super sad part is that Joann Fabrics doesn't even carry this fabric anymore, which is really unfortunate because it's literally the perfect leopard print. It's very like damson matter leopard print, and I feel like everyone's into that. So I had enough fabric left over to make this skirt. I actually bought enough on clearance that my mom made a pair of ruffled pants to match me, so that's kind of fun. And then I actually have just enough of the remnant left over that I'm making a damson matter inspired leopard vest, so stay tuned for that tutorial because that's going to come out and it's going to be super fun. But this is just a little slip skirt. I used a free pattern from my free pattern video where I talked about 35 different free sewing patterns, and I think that this free pattern was from a brand called Gracier. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what it was, and if I can find it, I'll link it below. But I talked about this and shared about it in my free sewing patterns video, and so this is just a fun skirt. I've worn this with a tank top, and then I've also worn it with like an oversized t-shirt, and this will definitely be a good like fall skirt as well. The last two things are bottoms that are pants, and then that's getting to the end of this homemade summer wardrobe. So this pair of pants matches my Catalina top. So this is a really fun combo. They look super cute together, but I originally had made these way before I had made the top because I wanted a pair of gingham ruffle bottom pants, because I had just been seeing so many cute pants that people were making that were gingham ruffly on the bottom. There's so many cute like Pinterest outfits that I've pinned, and so I used the Lane pants pattern from Sydney Graham as like my go-to pants pattern. I've used it for so many different variations of regular like scandy pants and ruffle bottom pants. So I just shortened the pants. I also think I took off some of the width in the bottom, and then I just added a cute little ruffle. There's pockets. So these are just a great go-to to wear with a cute graphic t-shirt or another cute top. So I just love them. They're so fun, and again, gingham is like such a fun print. The last pair of pants, well, it's not pants, it's shorts. The last bottoms are these boxer shorts that I made. This is the second pair of boxer shorts that I've made, and I used my own tutorial for these. So last fall I made a boxer shorts tutorial where I show you how you can essentially take a pair of shorts you already have, trace it out, make a pattern, and then turn it into the really cute boxer shorts that everyone's been wearing. And so I used my own tutorial and the pattern that I originally made from that video to make these, and they turned out so cute. They're definitely better than my original boxer shorts I made. If you watched that video, I had some issues with like the length of the waistband, and so I adjusted that on these shorts and they turned out way better. And then I also put the cute little buttons and then my clothing tag, which is really cute. And then I used a gray and white striped fabric that was originally a duvet, and I have a matching pair of scandy pants that go with these. So we have like the fall version and the summer version, but these are fun just to wear with a t-shirt or tank top if I'm in just a really like laid back, chill kind of mood when it comes to clothes. So definitely have loved having a pair of these. I definitely would like to make another pair. I have like a green and light pink striped sheet I've been meaning to make another pair of boxer shorts out of, so that definitely needs to be done. We'll see if I get to it by the end of the summer. Well, that is it. That is a wrap on everything that I have sewn and made this summer to create my dream summer wardrobe. I just counted up all my pieces because I actually hadn't done that before, and there are 25 pieces, which that's actually like a lot that I've sewn. Technically some of this I did make in May, which really isn't summer, but it kind of carries into June and summertime and my summer fashion. And so I've definitely been wearing those pieces all summer long, but 25 pieces is a lot. And like I said, it's just been so fun to sew all of these, try out new patterns. Definitely all these patterns I have mentioned, I highly recommend. They're so fun. And if I wasn't using a pattern, I was making my own video and tutorial, so you can go and find that in the description of this video if you liked a piece that I created myself. I know all these pieces are going to be staples in my wardrobe and I'm going to wear them forever because I just, like I said, feel like they fit my style. And all of these clothes are proof of what I've talked about before, that you really can create and curate your own dream wardrobe using your sewing skills, sewing pieces that you love, seeing pieces in stores or on websites or from designers that you obviously know does not fit within your budget, but you know how to sew, so you can use your skills to make those pieces. And yeah, it's just so fun to create and make items that I absolutely love, support pattern designers, small businesses, and then also just be able to create pieces that fit within my budget and look like a $100 piece that a designer has, which is just really, really cool. And so I hope that you're inspired by all of this, that you really can create and curate your dream wardrobe by learning how to sew, by growing your sewing skills, and that you can do it all on a budget. Because like I said, literally all of these pieces were made from thrifted sheets, and that's just insane to me sometimes when I think about all of the clothes I can make from thrifted sheets, which I love because it is adding and bringing new life to something that was discarded. And so it's very sustainable. I love using vintage sheets, something that's been around forever, and bringing new life to it. And then again, you can't even buy a yard of fabric for $5 sometimes, but the fact that you can get like 2 to 4 yards of fabric from a sheet or a sheet set that you thrift is insane and very budget friendly. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure every single one of these pieces would probably average out to be $7 or less. You could also then factor in the cost of patterns, but as a whole, even if you were adding in the cost of patterns to all of these, they probably all would still be under like $25, which is crazy considering most of these, if you were to go and try to find them in a real life, they would be $100 or more. So anyways, those are all the things that I have made this summer. I still have things on my list that I was wanting to make this summer that I haven't gotten to. There's a couple other skirts and some tops that I've been wanting to sew, so we shall see if I even get to those. If I do, I'm sure that you will see them in a video or see them on social media or hear about them in my year-end recap. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. This one was really fun to film and just reflect back on everything that I've sewn this year, and just also, I think I'm kind of just still so surprised about the number of things that I have been able to sew. And again, this is why I love sewing as a skill, and I want more people to be able to learn that skill and grow that skill to make clothes that they love, because getting to wear clothes that I make, wear clothes that I love, clothes that I know no one else is gonna have, even though they might have the same shape, they're probably not gonna have the same color or fabric or print, is just so fun. And creating and curating for myself a wardrobe that I love on a budget and getting to share with all of you is just so awesome. So thank you for watching today's video. Drop a comment below and let me know which piece I made this summer was your favorite, or if you have been introduced to some patterns or pieces that you want to try and make for yourself, definitely let me know which ones those are. And if you would be interested, like I said, in any of these pieces that I've made that I haven't created a tutorial for, if you would want to see a tutorial for that. As always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because like I say, I always have new videos coming out and I'm always excited to share those with all of you. But without further ado, that is the end of my summer sewing my dream wardrobe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.